What's going on, New York Giants fans, NFL fans, watchers of the channel? Welcome back. If you guys have not already, like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on that notification button so you get notified when a live stream pops or video drops. Appreciate y'all. Hope you guys like the memory stream. If you stayed in for it, shout outs to Evan Spitzberg and all the other guys that stayed in for a little bit, whether it be 2 minutes or whatever. The stream was like 3 hours and a half long, so it was a pretty long one. But that's regurgitating the shit from the past 12 years. So it was fun. We had a lot of fun on there. More streams to come like that. Favorite streams. Boys in the Big Apple, just sports streams and stuff like that. Football season is approaching, and I cannot wait. Giants training camp starts on the 27th. I don't know when they're starting to let fans in. I think it's at the end of the month. I don't think they'll open up to fans right away. They may or may not. I don't know. Hopefully they do, because as soon as those tickets go on sale and they'll be free, at least hopefully, like 2 years ago, I'll be grabbing a couple of tickets and we'll go from there on that stuff. But with that being said, I am going to the Pro Football Hall of Fame on Saturday. It's going to be a fun experience for me. I'll be vlogging from there partially. If I can take video and stuff, I probably can. And I'm going to show it to you guys. If you guys want to see something, you tell me, and then I'll either send it to you, post it, stuff like that. It's going to be a fun experience. Going to Ohio for the first time, stuff like that. But that is not what this video is about. It is a fun video. And I said over, the past couple of weeks that I'm not going to scratch for content, but I'm also not going to just sit here and bore you with football shit that's probably not even going to happen or doesn't even matter, stuff like that. And I'm not going to be dry with it. So I wanted to do a fun one today. My favorite broadcasting crews from the 2020 season. I'm going to go Fox, CBS, the pregame show, and then the primetime broadcasters. This is just, one of my favorite videos I've been waiting to do. We discussed it on the Boys in Big Apple podcast a couple of weeks ago, but we didn't really go that much into depth. So Fox broadcasters, here they are. This is the crews from the 2020 season. Tom Brenneman wasn't really a part of it because of the whole scandal, what happened with the Reds. Is unfortunate. I thought he was a good broadcaster. But obviously, I'm not going to speak on that topic. So, Fox, you have your regular crews: Kenny Albert, Jonathan Vilma, Kevin Kugler, Brock Howard. Beforehand, it was Chris Spielman before he took that job with the Detroit Lions. I don't think he has that job anymore. If he does, good for him. Kevin Burkhardt and Daryl Johnson, Chris Myers and Greg Jennings, Joe Davis and Brandon Gaudin with Brock Howard, and then Adam Amin and Mark Schlereth. So I'll explain everyone. Kenny Albert, honestly, was hard to put at number one on this list because I like Kenny Albert. I liked him with Jonathan Vilma in the 2 games that we got with them. I think it was the Week 9 Washington game and the Week 14 Cardinals game. So they were pretty good on those broadcasts. Nothing too crazy, just the simple stuff. But Kenny Albert is like the voice that, it's like a song that you've heard so many times and it's hard for you to like, but you still like it, It's kind of like for rock and roll fans, Stairway to Heaven, for pop fans, I guess it could be whatever. I'm not going to go into that really, but you get the point. It's like you've heard it 1,000 times. Because Kenny Albert, he does baseball, he does hockey, he does basketball, and he does football. He does Fox for baseball, Fox for football, MSG for, I believe, the Rangers and the Knicks. So he's been heard around the 4 major sports, which is interesting. And his dad just recently retired, Marv Albert, the great broadcaster. And then Jonathan Vilma, he obviously was good in his time with Kenny Albert this season. I wouldn't mind if they were paired together. The second crew I think is really unappreciated. I think it's really underrated. Chris Spielman was good with Tom Brenneman. I really didn't mind the two of them. But obviously after Tom Brenneman's contract got terminated, he was paired with Kevin Kugler before he took that job with the Lions. I thought they were a pretty good duo. Kevin Kugler also did the Spring League football. Like, if you guys, I know the XFL is coming in 2022, but if you guys are like, interested in more football, let's just say there's like no XFL next year for some reason. I'm hopefully not jinxing it, but the Spring League is basically a bunch of cast-offs from the NFL. It's not like Josh Johnson or any of those players, but it's like the first, second-year players. Like if you went undrafted in 2020, you're probably in that league among teams, and they have one stadium only, and they don't have fans. They could probably make money off of it, but I don't know. That's their thing. They take place at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. I watched a little bit over the course of the offseason. I thought, it was pretty good football. It's just scraps going at it for a lack of better words. But I thought Kevin Kugler did a nice job. He had 3 games with the Giants. The Ravens game was the last one, the Eagles game, and the Bengals game. So pretty good games by him. I think he's surely underrated. Take a look at the next one, Kevin Burkhardt. He's another name that we see a lot, especially on Fox. If Joe Buck and Troy Aikman are not doing a major game, it's going to be Kevin Burkhardt and Daryl Johnston. Daryl Johnston has been partnering up with a lot of people over the past couple of years. Kenny Albert, Chris Myers is another name, which we'll get to next. Kevin Burkhardt, he does baseball and football on Fox. I think he's good at both jobs. And then you have Daryl Johnston, who is the Moose. I think he owned one of the XFL franchises, if I'm not mistaken. But he's a pretty good voice, too. He does some good analysis. I enjoy that, even though the game they did last year was the 49ers-Giants game, and we got blown out. And the rest is history. So, number 4, I didn't really get to watch this crew last year, Chris Myers and Greg Jennings. I don't know what Greg Jennings commentates like and analyzes like, but Chris Myers, I know he does baseball, he does NASCAR, and he does football. So I think he's underrated. A lot of people don't like him for some reason. I think his social media posts as a different topic are very positive, like not what you see in this world today. But Chris Myers, he's a good broadcaster. I enjoy watching his games. The last time the Giants got a game of his was going back to 2018 when we versed the Redskins or the football team, whatever name you want to call them, from that time, and we blew them out 40-16, I believe the final score was. So that was a good game to watch, but once again, I had to battle that game with the Jets game. I don't know who they were playing that day, and I couldn't even see the Curtis Riley pick 6 because, we had to watch the Jets for a little bit. God, that's going to be so interesting coming on to this season. But with that being said, number 5, Joe Davis and Brandon Gaudin. I'm kind of tired of hearing Brandon Gaudin's voice. Like, it's not the same on Madden because you hear, like, 2 different voices once he's on a broadcast and once he's on, Madden. Madden's different than the broadcast, as I just mentioned. And I'm just like, no, I don't want to hear your voice. I hear you every time I play Madden, even though you can shut the commentary off. But in terms of Joe Davis, I think he's really underrated. I hated the broadcast where he had with Eric Karros the Yankees series in Boston. But other than that, I think he's super underrated. He does college football as well. I remember him doing a game with Washington. Not the football team, but the college. As in, Washington, the state. But that was good broadcast. I hope he gets more broadcasts this season. I think he's better than a lot of the people they put out there. And Fox is, in my opinion, like ESPN, they try to pick the stars out of there. They try to do more of a quality than quantity, or I don't know. But I don't think they prioritize broadcasters in total and sportscasters and stuff like that. I don't think they prioritize that. I think they prioritize money way too much. We'll talk about that on another day or something like that. But I think Joe Davis is underrated. Brock Heward, when he was with Kevin Kugler and when he was with Joe Davis and Brandon Gaudin, I thought he did well. I think he was a backup quarterback for a couple of years or something like that, but he did a nice job. I think Greg Olsen is going to be a part of the team next year. If he isn't, then I'm wrong. The 6th one, there's a little bit of bias into this one. If anyone remembers, they did 2 games for us last year. It was the first football team game against the Giants and then the infamous Seattle game. Yeah, we won that game, but, everything was about Jamal Adams. Everything was about Russell Wilson. I think it was more about Jamal Adams than it was about Russell Wilson. When Wayne Gallman had that big-ass run going down the field, all you heard was, Jamal Adams is catching up to him. And it made it so worse that after the fact, when Giant fans were commenting on it, then Mark Schlereth decided to tweet and retweet Giant fans and start making, weird comments like, Dude, and I honestly, there's a lot of people out there who are famous that don't reply to people's tweets. Like, if you're a football player, sometimes or most of the time, you will not reply to a fan's tweet. But if you're just getting negative hate, you're just pouring the gasoline on the fire by replying to them. That's what Mark Schlereth did. He did it twice with me, and you could ask Murph from Clapback Sports, I think. A couple other the people I know that follow me on Twitter, they definitely received some hate and nice words from him. But just like, why you gotta come after the fans like that? Like, you are a sports broadcaster. Go make another appearance on Colin Cowherd. So Dick Stockton, I think he retired, but he had a pretty good voice. I think he was supposed to do a Giants game 2 years ago. It didn't happen. But the last game I remember him doing, which I didn't get to watch, was the Cardinals game with Mark Schlereth. That was, I think, 4 years ago almost. That was in Arizona, and we lost. I think it was like 23-0. That was under Steve Spagnuolo. It was a different time then. So that's Fox. If you're going to ask my opinion, and I'll reveal it with CBS right here, I love CBS. I think CBS is better than Fox. I think Fox cares about their money way too much. I think their priorities are set on the hot takes and stuff like that. If you watch a CBS pregame, I might as well pull up the pregame crews. Nate Burleson, James Brown, Phil Simms, Boomer Esiason, Bill Cowher. And then you got Terry Bradshaw, Kurt Menefee, Michael Strahan, Howie Long, and Tony Gonzalez. My opinion is that Fox, honestly, you could say I'm biased or whatever or not, but Fox to me seems like the hot takey channel. Like Skip and Shannon, Colin Cowherd, the show with Emmanuel Acho. I get that. It's Speak for Yourself. Like, this seems like a lot of hot takey shit. And in my personal opinion, it filters into the pregame when you're supposed to be talking about, oh, what's this team going to do? No, you start making hot takes. And I just, honestly, no offense to Michael Strahan and all the guys there, I cannot take them seriously. You know, I don't care whether it's my brother's influence or not, every time I get up on a football Sunday, I'm turning on CBS at 12 o'clock. Not before then, because Adam Shine's on there, all these other idiots are on there, I think. Some of the other idiots from CBS Sports, like, no, that's not the show I want to watch. The show I want to watch is at 12 o'clock. And I feel they do a nice job. I really do. Nate Burleson, he's on NFL Network. James Brown, Phil Simms, former Giants quarterback. Boomer Esiason, former Bengals, Jets quarterback. And also Bill Cowher, the former coach for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think they do a nice job. I think they do a better job than the people at Fox. And that's just how I generally feel. Like CBS Sports, on occasion, and I'm talking CBS Sports, not actual CBS, because I think they're two different things, honestly, but one's a part of the other. CBS Sports is like bad with takes, like Giants. Cody Benjamin says that Joe Judge is like the 25th best coach in the league. Like, shut up, you know. Maybe I'll get to a video where I'm talking about, the clickbait takes and stuff like that. That's going to be another video. That might be a video I pre-recorded for over the weekend. But, yeah, so that's the pre-game crew. Here is the game crews: Ian Eagle and Charles Davis, Kevin Harlan, Trent Green, Jim Nance and Tony Romo, Greg Gumbel and Rich Gannon, Andrew Catalan and James Lofton, Tom McCarthy and Jay Feely, and Sparrow Ditas and Adam Archuleta. So Ian Eagle, he's a voice I am never tired of. He doesn't do baseball. He does the Nets basketball, and obviously he does CBS. Charles Davis, he does Madden. I'm personally not tired of his voice like I am Brandon Gaudin's, but he moved on to CBS after he was with Fox for a couple of years. That was last year. I remember Charles Davis was signed with Kevin Burkhardt the past 2 years, and then he signed a deal with CBS, and Dan Fouts was kicked out, which is a shame because I thought Dan Fouts did a pretty nice job with Ian Eagle. I thought, those two were the good duo. But they're still good, I guess. They're just not as good as Ian Eagle and Dan Fouts. Kevin Harlan, Trent Green. Kevin Harlan does basketball. If anyone knows, that's TNT, I believe. And Trent Green, obviously, I think he's a former quarterback as well, if I'm not mistaken. And those two do a pretty nice job. Kevin Harlan, I love the fact that, like, when he does ESPN radio broadcasts for Monday Night Football. He always got to add something, whether it's a fan streaking on the field or it's a cat on the field. If anyone remembers that from the Cowboys-Giants game from 2019, that was funny. A lot of people thought, oh my God, what's funny about that? I just thought it was funny, I thought it was fun. It's not just the basic, oh, there's a cat on the field. No, he's like, it's running into the end zone, touchdown. And I thought it was funny. He makes the broadcast fun. Number 3, I honestly was stumbling putting this at number 4, Jim Nantz and Tony Romo. I like Jim Nantz. I liked him with Phil Simms. I don't like the Tony Romo. Not because he's a Cowboys guy. He does some good analysis on occasion. But he's like, oh, here we go, Jim. Like, I just personally cannot stand him. I thought that he's overpaid as a broadcaster, and I thought Phil Simms was better. But Phil Simms didn't get, terminated totally. He's now on the CBS pregame show, which obviously I just mentioned. Then you go to number 4, Greg Gumbel and Rich Gannon. Rich Gannon actually used to be with Kevin Harlan. Trent Green used to be with Greg Gumbel. We got Greg Gumbel, I think it was 2018, Week 15 against the Tennessee Titans. We got shut out that game, but Gumbel did a nice job. We also got 2019 with him and Trent Green. That was the Buffalo Bills game in Week 2. I think he does a pretty nice job. I think he's like 70-something now. But nonetheless, Gumbel does a pretty nice job on CBS. Number 5, Andrew Callon, James Lofton. This is kind of like the crew that's like for bad teams like the Jaguars, the Jets. I think they do a pretty nice job. No complaints about them. The last time we got them was 2017 against the Seattle Seahawks. I don't know why that game was on CBS, but that's, for another day. Tom McCarthy and Jay Feely. I don't really watch their games that much. Tom McCarthy, if anyone doesn't know, if you're a baseball fan, he does the Phillies broadcasts. I think he does a nice job there. He does a nice job. Other than when you're talking about baseball broadcasters, you normally talk about Michael Kay. You normally talk about Gary Keith and Ron. I think Tom McCarthy does a nice job with the Phillies. And then Jay Feely, I think he does a pretty nice job as well. I haven't watched him that much, though. And then number 7, Sparrow Ditas and Adam Marcelletta. I don't think he's that bad, but I do get irritated by him sometimes because one of the things that sticks in my head to this day from 2017 is Darius Hayward Bay for the touchdown. He used to do Knicks basketball, and I think he got terminated from that or whatever. He moved on to CBS. Honestly, he's not that bad sometimes, but sometimes he is bad. That's why I label him at number 7. But for the final one, we'll do Primetime Crews, which is basically the people I missed earlier. Let's put it on now. Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, Steve Levy, Brian Grease, and Louis Riddick. I think ESPN is a worse version of Fox, my personal opinion, because I think they have the priorities wrong. I think it's about the stars, it's about this, that, and the other thing. I mean, they're not picking Hall of Fame players right out of their ass, but boom, they change their sportscasting crews too often. And this is not even ESPN just as Monday Night Football. This is ESPN as a radio show kind of thing, a sportscast, just like a general industry. You talk about ESPN New York, their lineup fucking sucks, okay? You have Max Kellerman. Barton Hahn, it's okay, it's not that great, but it's okay, it's tolerable. Michael Kay, obviously, they've been going down in the ratings because of Carton and Roberts on WFAN, but their lineup is just trash. They got rid of Stephen A. Smith for Max Kellerman. And then they had Stephen A. Smith go on a boxing broadcast. What? Doesn't make a lot of sense. Kellerman knows about boxing, but, the hot takes, it's way too much. That's why a lot of people do podcasting and that type of stuff, because they're tired of the hot takes. And a lot of people try to be like them, too, and it doesn't work, because a lot of people say, hey, you're clickbait. That's what they are. But in terms of ESPN, they've been changing their crews way too much over the past few years. A couple years ago, you had Mike Tirico and John Gruden. Then John Gruden got hired. Tirico switched over to NBC. You had Sean McDonough, which he was good. Honestly, that's my favorite Monday Night Football voice. He reverted back to college football, and I think he, on occasion, or if I'm not mistaken, does the Red Sox broadcasts, which is good for him. I enjoy Sean McDonough. But after that, it was Joe Tessitore and Jason Witten for a year. Then it was Joe Tessitore and Booger McFarland, which I could not stand by any sort of imagination. I'm like, Monday Night Football, really? We couldn't get Sunday night? And I know we do bad on Sunday night, but I don't want to be muting the TV friggin' when it's, Joe Tessitore and Booger McFarland. But the next year, it was Steve Levy, Brian Grease, and Louis Riddick, which was the first year of them this year, or I should say last year, really. They didn't do a bad job, but ESPN has way too much problems in terms of personnel switching in and out and, trying to get the big stars and way too much hot takes and stuff like that. Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth, we can make the memes about Chris Collinsworth. I don't think he's a bad guy. The only thing I have against him is that he created PFF, and PFF is a bunch of analytical bugs that don't make any sense, and a lot of people try referring to them, and if you refer me to PFF or you refer PFF to me in kind of a reference into an argument, I will not take you seriously. Joe Buck and Troy Aikman, they're okay. I mean, I hear Joe Buck's voice a little too often, but when he has a good broadcast and when he's energetic and not asleep, I think he's a good broadcaster. He obviously does baseball, does the World Series, does a lot of that stuff. Primetime, technically, I do consider because he does the 425 games. I consider that primetime, even though a lot of people don't. And also he does the Thursday night games, which is honestly, something that I'm not a fan of. I always like CBS doing the Thursday night games. There was NBC for a while. I like those two better than Fox, just because of Fox, Troy Aikman, Joe Buck, stuff like that. Nothing against those two. But, Fox again, it's like kind of that feeling. But I thought this would be a fun video for you guys. I know a lot of people aren't going into specifics about broadcasting crews. You'll see a post from a page on occasion. What's your favorite broadcaster from the NFL? But here I just thought I'd list my favorite broadcasters. Considering that's the industry that I want to go into when I'm older, it's going to be another fun football season for you guys coming up. Me as well. Training camp, sports games, stuff like that. So if you guys haven't already, like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on that notification button so you get notified when a live stream pops, video drops. More content throughout the week. Likely Boys and Big Apples on Wednesday next week. There are a couple of things I have to do next week in terms of Monday. And me and Sean and Luca will be hanging out for the first time in a couple of months. And in Staten Island, likely on Monday of next week, so we'll see what happens about that, but it's likely going to be on a Wednesday next week. And do I really want to do it on a Wednesday because of competition? Yes and no, but obviously you have to do what you have to do. So peace out, guys. See you later, and go Giants.